Welcome back to Capital Catch-Up. I'm Victor.
And I'm Lenny. We have a packed slate today, focusing on the flurry of activity coming out of the 119th Congress here in January 2026. From a massive stack of appropriations bills to critical hearings on national security and some significant judicial nominations.
It really feels like the legislative gears are grinding at full speed, Lenny. Let's start with the money. If you follow the Hill, you know that appropriations is the magic word. We are looking at a deluge of spending bills. We have House Resolution 7148, the Consolidated Appropriations Act for 2026, and House Resolution 7147, the further Consolidated Appropriations Act.
That's right, Victor. And for our listeners, it's important to distinguish between these massive omnibus-style packages and the individual bills. We're also seeing House Resolution 4213, specifically for the Department of Homeland Security, and House Resolution 4779, covering national security and the Department of State.
And don't forget the financial services sector. We have Senate Bill 3290 and House Resolution 5166, both tackling general government appropriations.
So, what does this mean for the average American? When we see consolidated appropriations, it usually means Congress is trying to avoid a shutdown by bundling funding for various agencies, transportation, housing, agriculture, into one vote. It's about keeping the lights on. But the specific focus on DHS and House Resolution 4213 suggests a heightened debate on border security and cyber defense funding this cycle.
Speaking of security and defense, there's a distinct theme of cleaning house in this batch of legislation. Take a look at House Resolution 1295, the Reorganizing Government Act of 2025, and Senate Bill 426, the Ensuring Accountability and Dignity in Government Contracting Act.
It pairs perfectly with House Resolution 1958, the Deporting Fraudsters Act of 2026. There is clearly a bipartisan push to tighten the belt and remove bad actors. This ties directly into a committee hearing held on January 21st, titled When Public Funds Are Abused.
Exactly. That hearing focused on fraud and theft of taxpayer dollars. It's interesting to see the legislative text in House Resolution 4123, the FIT Procurement Act, mirroring those oversight concerns. It's not just about spending money, it's about fixing how we spend it.
Shifting gears to social policy, we have some impactful legislation regarding healthcare and housing. House Resolution 611 is drawing attention. It expresses the importance of accurate information for medical professionals treating pregnant women in emergency departments.
That is a sensitive and critical topic. This builds on years of debate regarding emergency care standards. On the Senate side, we have Senate Bill 932, the Give Kids a Chance Act of 2025. While the title is broad, these types of bills often target funding for pediatric research or educational interventions.
And we can't ignore the housing crisis. House Resolution 2038, the American Housing and Economic Mobility Act, is on the docket. This is huge. With interest rates where they are, this bill likely aims to incentivize affordable housing construction, something that hasn't seen a major overhaul since the start of the decade.
That links directly to a busy week for the Veterans Affairs Committee. Lenny, I was looking at the schedule for the legislative hearing on January 21st, and the list is exhaustive.
It really is. They discussed the VAT Act, the Warriors to Workforce Act, House Resolution 982, and crucial drafts regarding veteran suicide prevention and homelessness.
Specifically, the Daniel J. Harvey Jr. and Adam Lambert Improving Service Member Transition to Reduce Veteran Suicide Act, House Resolution 2878. That is a mouthful, but the impact is life or death. We are seeing a concerted effort to handle the transition from active duty to civilian life better than we have in the past.
Absolutely. And in a rather unique piece of legislation, we saw Senate Bill 933, the NASA Transition Authorization Act of 2025. Victor, could you quickly explain for our listeners the difference between the appropriations we discussed earlier and this authorization?
Sure. Think of authorization as giving permission to exist and setting the rules, while appropriations is actually cutting the check. Senate Bill 933 sets the policy direction for NASA, likely focusing on the next phase of lunar or Martian exploration, but it doesn't technically fill the bank account. That happens in the appropriations bills.
Thanks for that. Now, looking at foreign affairs, there was a fascinating hearing on January 22nd, advancing peace in DRC and Rwanda through President Trump's Washington Accords.
That is historically significant. It references a specific diplomatic framework, the Washington Accords, aimed at stabilizing the Great Lakes region of Africa. It shows that despite domestic focus, the Foreign Affairs Committee is deeply entrenched in maintaining those prior diplomatic investments.
We also saw a hearing on embedded threats regarding foreign ownership in transportation systems, and another on deep-sea mining. That mining hearing is critical. It's about the race for rare earth minerals needed for batteries and tech, and the regulatory barriers stopping the U.S. from tapping into the ocean floor.
Let's move to the people being picked to run the show. The nominations list is heavy on the judiciary. We have a slate of U.S. attorneys and district judges for Texas, Missouri, Arkansas, and Pennsylvania.
The sheer volume of judicial appointments, like Nicholas John Ganji for the Southern District of Texas or Megan Blair Benton for the Western District of Missouri, reminds us that the court system is being reshaped week by week. But one name on the board nomination stood out to me: Russell Vouch.
Yes, nominated to the Board of Directors of the Inter-American Foundation. Vouch is a known quantity in Washington, having previously served as the director of the Office of Management and Budget. Placing a fiscal hawk like Vouch on a foundation board dealing with grassroots development in Latin America signals a specific approach to foreign aid, likely one focused on strict oversight.
And before we wrap up the bills, we have to mention a smaller but very specific one: House Resolution 988. It moves the incorporation of the National Women's Relief Court to Illinois.
It sounds minor, but these charters are federal law. Moving their principal office to Murfreesboro, Illinois requires an act of Congress. It's a reminder of the granular level of detail the House deals with daily.
To verify all this, we rely on the Congressional Daily Records. We have Volume 172, numbers 14 through 19, covering January 21st through the 27th. These documents are the official transcripts of floor proceedings. If you ever want to know exactly what was said during the debate on the Reverse the Curse healthcare hearing, the record is where you look.
So what should listeners watch for in the coming days?
Keep your eyes on the appropriations bills. With House Resolutions 7147 and 7148 moving, we are entering crunch time for the federal budget. Also, watch for the markup on the Defending American Property Abroad Act, which was cleared for consideration.
And I'd keep an eye on that Veterans Affairs package. The bipartisan support for mental health transition is strong, and we might see House Resolution 2878 move quickly to a floor vote.
That's all for this week's Capital Catch-Up. Thanks for listening.
Stay informed, and we'll see you next time.